Listen, right now in this room, and I know this because I've been there myself, there are way too many of you who've already decided your story's over. You've checked your bank account, you've looked at where you came from, you've counted up all the times you've failed, and you've just given up. You've said, all right, this is it. This is all I'm ever going to be. You're wearing a label someone else slapped on you. And you know what? That label is a lie. Your past doesn't get to write your future. That's not how this works. The only thing, and I mean the only thing separating someone who stays stuck from someone who breaks through is one decision. That's it, just one. Let me tell you about this shoemaker because his story is probably your story too. Picture this guy waking up every single morning with this heavy, suffocating blanket of average just crushing him. That's where he lived. And look, it wasn't even about the money, you know? Yeah, he was broke financially, but he was completely bankrupt emotionally. He'd fallen into the most dangerous trap a human being can fall into, resignation. He'd just quit. He'd look at the cracked walls of his little shop, look down at his worn-out, pathetic tools, and he'd tell himself this massive lie. He'd say, this is it. This is all there is. And he'd watch the world go by his window, people in nice clothes, people who actually had somewhere to be, people with purpose, and he decided he was just watching their movie. He wasn't the main character, he was an extra. How many of you know exactly what that feels like? Come on, be honest. You drag yourself out of bed, you go to a job that doesn't even use half your brain, you come home exhausted, you zone out in front of the TV, you pass out, and then you do it all over again tomorrow. You're running hard on this treadmill, sweating, working yourself to death, but you're going absolutely nowhere. This shoemaker, man, the resignation was in everything. You could see it in how he walked, head down, eyes on the ground. He wasn't looking for opportunities anymore. He was looking for more proof that life was against him. He'd convinced himself the script was already written, the ink was dry, done deal. Because his dad worked with his hands and his grandfather worked with his hands, he figured he had no right to dream bigger. He was literally handcuffed by his own history. And yeah, he was working, stitching leather, hammering soles, but there was no fire in it, no passion, no vision. He was just going through the motions. He was what I call the walking dead. Heart still beating, lungs still breathing, but no life in him, no spark. And here's the tragedy. He was comfortable there. That's the crazy part. Misery is comfortable. When you expect nothing, you can't be disappointed, right? When you've already decided you're defeated, you don't have to risk fighting and losing. So that's where he stayed, day after day, year after year. He let the circumstances of his birth put a ceiling on his future. He let empty pockets empty his mind of any possibility. He was waiting for some miracle to knock on his door, not realizing he was the one holding the key to unlock it from the inside. He just sat there on his stool, surrounded by the smell of old leather and dust, thinking the universe had forgotten about him, when really, and this is important, he had forgotten his own power. But then something shifted. And let me tell you about turning points. They never look like a celebration. They usually look like a crisis. It was the dead of winter, that brutal kind of cold that gets into your bones and won't let go. The shoemaker was down to nothing, absolutely nothing. He'd made one final pair of boots, and honestly, they were his masterpiece. These weren't just shoes, they were art. He'd poured everything he had left into them, every ounce of skill, stitching them perfectly, polishing them until they looked like glass. In his mind, these boots were everything. They were the only thing standing between him and starving to death. He'd already calculated it all out, how much he'd sell them for, how much bread that would buy, how he could maybe survive one more week. Pure survival mode, white-knuckling what little he had left. And then, knock knock, someone's at the door. But it's not some wealthy customer ready to pay top dollar. It's a beggar, some guy shivering in rags, feet wrapped in bloody cloth, trembling from the cold. Now logic would tell you to send him away, right? I've got nothing, I'm barely surviving myself. And for a second, the shoemaker froze. He looked at this freezing man, then looked at his boots. It was a choice, self-preservation or sacrifice, fear or faith. Most people would have dug up some old beat-up pair from the back and called it charity. They would have given what they didn't need anyway. But this shoemaker did something that doesn't make any logical sense. He picked up his masterpiece, those boots that were supposed to save his life, and he knelt down. He didn't toss them over, he served this man. He placed those beautiful leather boots on the beggar's bleeding feet. He gave away his best when he was at his absolute worst. He gave away his tomorrow to help someone else today. And here's where everything changes. The moment he let go of those boots, he let go of poverty itself. You cannot feel poor when you're giving. It's impossible. When you give, you're basically announcing to the universe, I have more than enough. He broke the spell his own poverty had cast on him. He stood up in that shop with completely empty hands, but for the first time in years, his heart was full. He had no idea how he was going to eat tomorrow, but you know what? The fear was gone. He'd stared his worst situation in the face and chosen love anyway. He realized his value wasn't in what he owned, but in what he could give. And even with empty pockets, he still had the power to transform someone's life. Now here's the part you need to grab onto today. That shoemaker went to bed that night hungry, but his spirit was on fire. And while he slept, the universe went to work. You can't broadcast abundance and not get it back. That's just how it works. Whether you believe in fairy tale elves or divine blessings or karma or whatever, the principle is the same. What you put out comes back multiplied. He walked into his shop the next morning, and what he left behind wasn't there anymore. His kindness had circled back. That single act of giving away his best pair of shoes had opened a door that no amount of struggling could ever close. He looked at his workbench and realized the script he thought was carved in stone was actually written in pencil. And guess what? He was holding the eraser. He stopped being a victim of his history and became the architect of his future. He realized fate isn't some wind pushing you around wherever it wants. Fate is a sail, and you set the angle with your character. He understood he didn't need a handout, he needed a breakthrough in what he believed about himself. When he changed what he was putting out there, what came back had to change too. He stopped whining, "Why me?" and started shouting, "Try me." He stopped waiting for the world to give him a chance and became the chance the world needed. This simple shoemaker showed us that you're not defined by your work or your wallet, but by the size of your heart. He proved that rock bottom can be the foundation you build your new life on. He wasn't just making shoes anymore, he was making a statement. He was declaring that circumstances don't control you, you control how you respond to circumstances. Those same four walls that used to feel like a prison, they became his kingdom because he wasn't scared anymore. And once you understand that power, once you realize you can shift your entire life with one decision, that's when everything changes.